Myanmar's military-controlled government has extended the state of emergency for another 6 months. The emergency was first imposed when the army had seized power from an elected government in 2021, forcing a further delay in elections it promised when it took over. The announcement made yesterday is the fourth extension of the emergency rule. According to the reports, the NDSC or the National Defence and Security Council met yesterday in the capital city and extended the state of emergency for another 6 months starting today. The body says that it needs more time to prepare for the upcoming elections. The NDSC is nominally a constitutional government body, but in practice, it is entirely controlled by the military. The announcement amounts to an admission that the army does not exercise enough control to stage the polls and has failed to subdue widespread opposition to military rule. This includes increasingly challenging armed resistance as well as non-violent protests and civil disobedience, despite the army having a huge advantage in manpower and weapons. The state of emergency was declared when troops had arrested Aung San Suu Kyi and top officials from her government and members of her National League for Democracy on February 1, 2021. The takeover had led to a reversal in years of progress towards democracy after 5 decades of military rule in Myanmar. The military had said that it had to seize power because of fraud in the last general elections held in November 2020, in which the Nobel laureate Suu Kyi's party had won a landslide victory while the military-backed Union Solidarity and Development Party had fared very poorly. The army takeover was met with widespread peaceful protests that security forces suppressed with lethal force, triggering armed resistance that even UN experts have described as a civil war. The army enacted 2008 constitution allows the military to rule the country under a state of emergency for 1 year with 2 possible 6-month extensions if preparations are not yet completed for new polls. This means that the initial time limit had already expired on 31st of January this year. But the NDSC allowed the military government to extend emergency rule for another 6 months in February, claiming that the country still remained in an abnormal situation. The state of emergency allows the military to assume all government functions, giving the head of the ruling military council, Senior General Min Aung, legislative, judicial and executive powers. This effectively means that democratic governance in the country is at least 6 months away for the time being.
Subscribe to Oneindia channel and never miss an update.